Truck drivers of Reddits, what is your most NSFW story from the road? Pulled into a truck stop outside of Sacramento. Real dive. I just wanted some coffee and take a shit. As I'm walking through the lot, I see some sketchy looking homeless guy yelling at truckers demanding money. I decide to avoid the situation, cut between some trucks and circle around the store. About a minute or two later, I hear a gunshot. The homeless guy shot a trucker in the head. 2 other guys tackled him and held him for the police. I always wonder if I hadn't decided to avoid him if that would have been me. Edit to everyone asking, I didn't see the name of the truck stop. It was south of Sac on 99. This happened in the mid-90s. It wasn't a big chain truck stop like Pilot, Petro, or Flying J. Beep boop. There was something on here the other day about train engineers and grinners, because apparently they all have a grin right up until impact. Edit, I can't figure out how to link it from my phone, but it was the one fact you learned that you wish you could unlearn thread on AskReddit, and the user was Gobo14. I drive trains, this is accurate. I've never heard the term grinner though. I personally have not hit anyone, but I work with dozens of people who have. I've seen the aftermath 4 times. One guy looked almost like nothing happened to him. Others are a mess. I found a guy who was blown 30 feet out of his high-laced boots. A few times I've seen someone receiving roadhead, and once I had a convertible of college-age girls flash me their tits. But the funniest was a guy driving down the road with his topless girlfriend or wife. He was just holding a boob. He wasn't rubbing it, and they weren't doing anything else. He was just driving down the road holding a massive titty. Maybe it was a comfort thing. Or just the tamest weird kink ever? Security blanket? Nah. Security boob. My dad's a truck driver. Called me really upset one morning about 7 years ago saying a girl my age, I was 16 then, was knocking on his window about 5:10 a.m., barefoot and obviously high. She had little to no teeth and didn't seem to have bathed in weeks. She was begging my dad to let her perform sexual services on him in exchange for like $10 US or something. It made him so upset that he bought her a hot chocolate and a sandwich, gave her his blanket from his truck and $50 and really hoped she wouldn't use it for drugs. I guess he thought of me when he saw her, I don't know. Really shook him. She went to the moon with those $50. That's really ducked up, but you're probably right. My dad's been a truck driver for over 30 years, and his story he tells all the time is before the age of cell phones. He was running in the middle of the night and came up on a flipped vehicle. About that time a state trooper pulled up. The trooper and him followed bloody footprints through the desert trying to find the driver. They never found anyone. Another time it was a similar situation, but it was an extended van with a group of people and children. He had to help find the bodies in the dark that had been scattered from the van flipping. This sounds like a tragedy years ago in Vegas regarding a family and multiple deaths due to a car accident with police on the highway. As a first responder, this happens more than I'd like to admit. Seriously people, buckle up, and if your vehicle only has 5 seat belts, only have 5 people in the car. I shudder at the fact that as a high school-aged kid we fit 8 people in a Volkswagen Rabbit. Me, being the smallest, was in the trunk hatchback-like thing that had a lid that separated me from the rest. I don't know how the other 8 fit up front and the driver was able to drive, especially since it didn't have power steering. The best part was that the bastards forgot me in there when we got to the girl's house, and for whatever reason one of the girls came out to the car to get something. When I heard the steps approaching on the gravel driveway, I yelled to let me out. She screamed so loud and ran off. The odds of one of the few people there to come to the car that didn't know I was in there. Good times. We were on mushrooms too, which is probably why they forgot me in there. I just had a son and I fear for his life he does half the dumb shit I did. My friend's dad was apparently driving one day and a turkey fell out of a tree, broke through the window, and he was just covered in blood, but he was apparently less than a mile from completing the delivery. Apparently they thought he killed someone before they saw the turkey. This happened to my mom-in-law. She bought a brand new car and on the way home a turkey fell out of a tree and went through the windshield. Is this a common thing? I guess so. What are you gonna do? Turkey's gonna turkey. I think I've only seen farm turkeys. Wild turkeys be wildin' apparently. From Mass. The turkeys roam in big gangs out here. Notorious assholes to themselves and the world. I bet it was a hit. Just this month I have witnessed no less than 30 turkeys surrounding and pecking at the Comcast office and each other. It is mirrored glass, so I guess to them it was a big turkey rumble. 2 weeks ago a piece of shit turkey just planted in the middle of a busy intersection. He would sit down for a little bit, get up and stretch, pick a new lane of honking cars to stare at and sit down again. I called the police. I promise you this is not a prank call, but there is a turkey sitting in the middle of such and such intersection and he won't budge. Police, yeah, we know. He's been doing it all day. They sounded so exasperated about it, it was hilarious. Used to assist in liability claims for trucking companies. What a nightmare. Best NSFW stories involve the multiple times truckers ended up in the back of their trucks trying to score with a lovely lady, who then proceeded to rob them blind and/or steal the cab. We had 2 calls in 1 month involving truckers in Texas where the drivers were found naked in the back of their trucks with no wallets or it at all. Police were calling us to identify them and figure out how to get them back on the road. One guy lost a full load from Circuit City because he thought it was his lucky day. Didn't matter how many times we warned the drivers or told the stories. #X200B, SFW was the guy who stopped off at home en route to deliver a load. Found his wife with her boyfriend getting cozy. He walked back to the truck, put it in gear and parked it in their living room. No one died, but try to explain to your insurance carrier how this was an accident. Years ago there was a similar question on here and this truck driver got on and proceeded to tell a tale of him witnessing one truck driver's pet chimp kick the shit out of another truck driver's pit bull. I would put money on a chimp or other large primate over a dog any day. They're like humans with double the strength, the teeth of a big cat, and no self-control. Plus they go for the dangly bits, nose, and eyes. I saw a lot lizard empty her contents by hanging her ass out of a truck window, then move along to the next truck. Are we talking excrement or contents? Honestly, probably both. You didn't go check? Tasted like salt. Could have been either. My old WoW guild had a truck driver in our ranks. He carried a full PC in his truck and connected over wireless at truck stops to raid. We were raiding the day the verdict was released at the last Michael Jackson trial. As we played, he was giving us regular updates of some truckers fighting outside his truck over the verdict. The fight kept escalating, stuff thrown, fists used, knives pulled. Finally he just piped up in voice chat, "Oh shit, gotta go, fill you in later," and went offline. About 30 minutes later he comes back. Apparently the fighting truckers decided to pull guns on each other, so he decided to GTFO and head inside the stop. Edit, since this blew up, maybe some old guildmates would see this. Zug zug on server Garona. For the horde. Driving northbound I-15 through Cajon Pass, I saw a really nice classic Buick parked on the side of the freeway with its hazards on, looked to have broke down. Upon closer inspection, an older woman had stopped, dropped her pants, hit the hazards and was dropping a massive deuce with her ass hanging out of the driver window. Different story, at the Flying J in Ehrenberg, I stopped for fuel and jerky. While I was walking in, I noticed a driver yelling at a recreational reptile to leave him alone and let him sleep, and this was the last time he was gonna tell her. So I did my shopping, and on my way back to start fueling I noticed the driver from earlier taking off from his spot and driving towards the lot lizard. I was thinking, duckin' great, I'm about to witness a murder and have to deal with taking statements and shit. Nope. Dude got his truck up to about 15 miles per hour, rolled the window down and whipped a jug of something I'm gonna guess wasn't lemonade at her and drilled her center mass. So this piss-soaked lot lizard goes sprinting into the travel center, and about 5 seconds later people started pouring out the front doors like the place was on fire. By the time I was done fueling the cops had came and were tossing her in their cruiser while taking turns dry heaving. Best part is I was about 50 yards upwind of all this. Recreational reptile, love it. I was like, is there a pet iguana in this story all of a sudden? Driving northbound in Utah heading to Brigham to deliver a load. Get past Ogden and it just starts downpouring like a Texas storm. It also happens to be 8 p.m. and pitch black out. Happened to roll by the scene of an accident where a gentleman was hanging out the driver's side window of a 90s Tacoma with a white sheet barely covering him and covered in blood, his head only half attached to his body. The tires of the truck were bald as shit, and given the pole that the truck was wrapped around, it's obvious what happened. Wear your seatbelt, people, and be safe. I don't want to see another semi-decapitation. Edit, rip inbox. Highest rated comment is about a dead guy.